So I'm gonna try something new today. I'm just gonna ramble about Pokemon Sword and Shield. This is unscripted because I'm bored and I want to talk about these games. So here I am. Uh, and I don't even know if this is gonna be exciting to listen to, but let me know in the comments if you enjoy this. I might do it more. So yeah, let's just get started. So I finished Pokemon Sword a couple days ago. I was fortunate enough to get it early, 2 days early, and so I finished it. And going in, I knew they would be polarizing games, right? And after rolling the credits, I knew they would continue to be polarizing. I am here to give you my perspective as someone who has been with the series since the beginning. So the Pokemon series, it's very special to me. I don't think they're the best games ever made, but in terms of pure sentimental value and enjoyment, they are probably at the top for me. And there are very few franchises I'd consider myself to be an expert on, and Pokemon is certainly one of them. However, that doesn't really mean that I'm biased, I would say. On the contrary, I'd argue that makes me more qualified to judge its weaknesses because I know what the series has been, what it can be, and what it should be. So let's just get this out of the way, right? Sword and Shield are not groundbreaking games. They are not technical marvels either. If those things are important to you, you probably won't like the games. And that's just the truth. But if you just want more Pokemon, I think you're in for a really fun experience. I think they smartly retooled the formula with quality of life improvements. Some returning from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, such as being able to access the box from anywhere, which I really enjoy. And also really enjoy seeing Pokemon in the overworld as well, since it makes the world feel so much more alive. And at the same time, you don't run into Zubats and Rattatas when you don't want to. You can just avoid them very easily, which I appreciate that a lot. It's just more choice in how you want to play the game, right? Less tedious. Another point of contention is the experience share. Even though it was introduced many games ago at this point, it's still a controversial addition to the series. Let me tell you why I love the experience share, okay? I love the experience share because it allows me to experiment more with my team. So whenever you find a new Pokemon you want to catch, it's very easy to add it to the party. It's very easy to level it up so it matches up with the rest of your team, which was kind of a pain in the older games. So I like the experience share because it promotes experimentation when it comes to team building. And it saves a lot of time. You don't have to grind, which some people enjoy. That's fine. I enjoy it to an extent, I should say, but not that much. And I think this is a good addition, personally. So yeah, the biggest addition is probably the wild area. That's the biggest thing about this game, and I really like it. Personally, for me, I like having a linear progression in games, going from point A to point B, because I feel like it's easier to measure progress in that sense, and I find that it's very satisfying. But at the same time, the idea of the wild area is really great, and it's fun how I've heard from people who got the game on launch day and they still haven't reached the first gym because they're just messing around in the wild area. And I think that's really cool. The game allows you to do that. And yeah, the wild area, it's a really fun addition, and I hope it comes back because it's a big step forward for the series, I think. And it's just great to go back and forth. Like, you can go back to the wild area whenever you want and just explore, and then you can go back to the main story structure of the game. And I really enjoy that back and forth, personally. So next up, I want to talk about the story, which I know is going to be controversial because I've already seen people who say they hate the story. And I get it, to be honest. I get why it wouldn't appeal to you. But let me tell you one aspect of the story that I really like. So, one of my issues with the latest entries of the series is the greater focus on world-ending threats. There's always an evil team. They're trying to capture the legendary Pokemon on the box because they want to take over the world. And that gets kind of old, right? And at the same time, I feel like it distracts from the main idea behind Pokemon, which is you and your team going on an adventure, growing stronger. That to me is Pokemon. And for the first time in many generations, this game primarily revolves around the player's journey. Any underlying evil team plot takes a backseat. And personally, I like that. I really appreciate that story. However, if you want more than that, I totally get it. Uh, I do see the appeal of something like Black and White, which had a greater emphasis on the story. But yeah, it's just a direction they decided to go in. That's important to keep in mind. So, my absolute favorite thing about these games is the gym battles, because the gym battles actually feel like a big deal this time. They do a really good job of hyping up the league in advance. They present to you the gym leaders. This is the Pokemon League. These are the gym leaders you're gonna battle. This is the champion. They do a good job of setting that up, which I like. And the battles themselves, they remind me of Pokemon Stadium, but they're even more epic than that because they do take place in a stadium, so there's a huge crowd, right? And the scale is massive, especially when a Pokemon turns Dynamax, becomes Dynamax or whatever. Uh, it, that feature is way more fun than I thought it would be, right? I watched the trailers, I was like, yeah, this is like a fun little thing. But seeing it in the game, two Dynamax Pokemon duking it out, to that music, it's awesome. And let me tell you about that music. The Gym Leader battle music is my favorite in the series. And I love it because it changes dynamically throughout the battle. So they kind of did this as well in Pokemon Black and White, where if there was one Pokemon left, the music would change. And this does that as well. But also when you lose a Pokemon, the music changes. So it changes like several times throughout the battle. And it's so good. It feels epic. And by the end, the crowd starts singing along too. And it's so, like, it's huge. It's so cool to see. And I just can't go back to the old style of gym battles. Like, this is incredible. So yeah, I guess if I had to point out something bad about these games, like, or something that I didn't enjoy that much, it will probably be the Pokemon designs, which is weird because like, I really enjoy the human designs, like the characters you meet are really cool, but in terms of like the Pokemon themselves, maybe it's just me getting older, right? It probably is just me getting old, but very few of the new designs appeal to me, which is a shame. I was a little disappointed by that. But yeah, overall, I had a really great time playing Pokemon Sword. I think it's a very satisfying game for fans. Well, for some fans. It's definitely not a perfect game for sure, but I think it's a good step forward for the series. They have some smart new additions. They brought back some really good quality of life stuff that I hope they continue with. And even though I'm really excited about this game, but at the same time, I'm even more excited to see what they do next, right? If this is their first mainline new game for Switch, I can't wait to see what they do next time. And they have my support for sure. I'm rooting for them, and I believe in them, and they haven't really let me down. Like, obviously, I have some favorite games in the series. I like some more than others, but overall, I think the series has been remarkably consistent, and I'm super excited to see what they do next. So yeah, that's my rambling video. I don't know how fun this was, but let me know what you think, and yeah, peace.